Taylor Swift being sued by author for $1 million over 2019 Lover book. After releasing her album of the same name, Taylor Swift is being accused of copying design and textual elements from an author's 2010 book. The Don't Blame Me singer Taylor Swift is facing a new copyright lawsuit that alleges she ripped off the book that accompanied her 2019 album Lover from a self-published book of poems under the same name. In a complaint filed in a Tennessee federal court on August 23, author Teresa La Dart claimed that design and textual elements from her 2010 book Lover were copied into Swift's book. Can't get enough news or gossip about Taylor Swift? Then you've come to the right YouTube channel, plenty of pop fans. We've scoured Facebook groups, Twitter feeds, Reddit, Discord, and even Telegram boards to get you the most up-to-date info on your favorite celebrity or juicy Hollywood gossip. If you have a tip, story, or even correction on our intel, comment below and we'll be sure to follow it up. Let's dive right into what Taylor is up to now. In a complaint filed in a Tennessee federal court on August 23, author Teresa La Dart claimed that design and textual elements from her 2010 book Lover were copied into Swift's book. The document goes on to say that according to legal documents obtained by the source, La Dart's lawyers claim that Swift's book, which sold 2.9 million copies in the US alone, infringes La Dart's copyrights, and the Grammy winner now owes their client in excess of $1 million in damages. La Dart claims their books are basically the same format as a recollection of past years memorialized in a combination of written and pictorial components. The alleged similarities include covers that both feature pastel pinks and blues, as well as an author photo with her face in downward pose. La Dart's complaint states that the internal design of the Innermost Voyage infringe on copyrights due to the inclusion of copyrighted material, interspersed photographs, and writings. Experts believe that Taylor's case against the artist should be quickly thrown out, as their argument is deeply flawed. The copyright has brought forth a new problem for Taylor Swift, which could have a high chance of not succeeding. La Dart's attorney William S. Parks wrote in the complaint that the defendants had neither sought nor obtained a license from TLD for her creative design element rights, nor did they provide TLD any monetary payments on top of using her designs without crediting her. The alleged similarities between La Dart's book and Swift's book consist of both having pastel pinks and blues, as well as a picture of the author posed with her head down. La Dart also claims that Swift copied the author's format, in which it includes a recollection of past years memorialized in a combination of written and pictorial components. La Dart says that the appearance, specifically the layout based on interspersed photographs and writings, infringe her copyright. If certain elements of your content don't sound like they would be eligible for a copyright, legal experts would agree. Moss argues that the idea of memorializing a person's series of recollections over a number of years with written and pictorial components isn't protectable. If it were, this person might as well sue anyone who's ever written a diary or made a scrapbook. The titles of Swift's book and La Dart's book are identical, but copyright law typically doesn't protect titles themselves. According to US Copyright Office records, more than a dozen other books feature the same title. Moss said that this lawsuit should be thrown out on a motion to dismiss without the plaintiff's lawyer rethinking whether or not to continue if they don't want a plan in place. In an official statement to a source, La Dart's attorney stated the lawsuit was not taken lightly. My client feels very strongly about her position, and the comparison of both books side by side would provide a clear view. Swift has had to defend herself in copyright suits since she entered the spotlight and has been sued over songs. Swift's legal team has a tough time with a recent copyright lawsuit from the 2014 song Play Has Gone Play, which alleged plagiarism claims against her because of the lyrics to Shake It Off. The musicians argued that Swift copied lyrics from their 2001 song to use in her Grammy-nominated track. They said she abused her position and took material without permission, because the players are going to play, and the haters will hate. Taylor Swift's Shake It Off lyrics are entirely her own, according to court documents obtained by a source. Swift wrote in a declaration dated August 6, "The lyrics to Shake It Off were written entirely by me. Until I learned about plaintiff's claim in 2017, I had never heard of the song Play Is Gonna Play or 3LW. She continued, "The first time I ever heard of the song was after this claim was made." Still can't get enough of Taylor Swift? Why not get to know her more, right? Taylor Swift has released 80 top 10 songs on the Billboard Hot 100, including 20 top 10 hits like You Belong With Me 2009, Back to December 2010, We Are Never Getting Back Together 2012, Shake It Off 2014, Blank Space 2014, and Look What You Made Me Do 2017. Taylor Swift is a young singer-songwriter who touched on youthful heartache with her music and achieved mainstream success in the early 21st century. Swift has always shown interest in music since childhood and began modeling after age 7. Swift appeared before thousands of people when she sang the Star-Spangled Banner at a Philadelphia 76ers game at age 11, and then picked up the guitar. Swift's influence include country artists Shania Twain and Dixie Chicks, who have inspired her to create original material that reflects her teenage experiences of alienation. Swift was discovered by a music industry veteran when she was 14 years old. Swift signed a development deal with RCA Records in 2004 and then gained work with Sony ATV as a songwriter. At one of her performances, she was noticed by Scott Borchetta, who would later sign her to his fledgling Big Machine label in 2006. Swift released the first single, Tim McGraw, off her debut album the same year, which was heavily inspired by and prominently referenced another country tune from her favorite artist. Even though Swift was only 15 years old at the time, she wrote and released Fearless, that became a popular song in 2006. The song went on to spend 8 months on the Billboard Country Singles chart. After releasing her first album, Taylor Swift even opened for high-profile artists like Rascal Flatts and George Strait. By 2007, Taylor Swift had sold more than 1 million copies of her debut album and earned a platinum certification from the Recording Industry Association of America. She also began a highly publicized cross-country concert tour in which she expanded her appearances with artists like Kenny Chesney, Tim McGraw, and Faith Hill. In 2007, Swift capped off what is considered by some as her rise to prominence in the country music industry, as she received the Horizon Award for Best New Artist for the Country Music Association. Swift embarked on her first headlining tour in 2009, playing to sold-out venues across North America. That same year, she dominated the award circuit with the winning album Fearless and the Best Female Video for You Belong With Me at MTV Video Music Awards. In April 2010, Swift was awarded Album of the Year by the Academy of Country Music, while in September 2010, she was awarded Best Female Video for You Belong With Me from the MTV Music Video Awards. During her acceptance speech at the VMAs that year, Swift was interrupted by rapper Kanye, who protested an award for Beyoncé because he thought it should have gone to his video for one of the best videos of all time. West does not like Beyoncé. In a highly recognized award like the Grammy Awards, Swift was nominated for 4 different categories, winning all 4. Yup, you heard that right. In 2010, she won 4 Grammy Awards and was the youngest ever to win this award. In the same year, Swift released her first major work of 13 songs, Fearless, and sold over 1 million copies in the first week. The artist became one of the biggest entertainers in the world almost immediately. On New Year's Day in 2009, she performed on national television alongside Beyoncé and opened to a standing ovation. Around the same time, Swift won Entertainer of the Year at the Country Music Awards, alongside her other 2,000-year winning accolades for Country Song of the Year to Best Country Album. Her success over 2010 is just as impressive, with this being the first female artist in their history to ever win Album of the Year. Her debut feature film came later that year on Valentine's Day, surprising many with her frankness about her personal life in her music. Swift followed up this album titled Speak Now with allusions to romantic relationships with John Mayer, Joe Jonas of the Jonas Brothers, and Twilight series actor Taylor Lautner. Swift reclaimed the CMA Entertainer of the Year award in 2011. And the following year, she won Grammy Awards for Best Country Solo Performance and Best Country Song for Mean, a single from Speak Now. Swift's next album, Red, was released in October 2012. The album included the song We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together, which was a huge success for Swift, selling over 1 million copies in the first week and giving her her first #1 hit on the Billboard Pop Singles chart. In its first week on sale, in the United States, Red sold 1.2 million copies, the highest one-week total in 10 years. In 2014, Swift released her 1989 album, the title reflecting the year of her birth and saying that it was inspired by the music of that era. Swift had already been gradually moving away from traditional country signifiers in her prior work, but 1989 was claimed by Swift to be her first official pop album. The upbeat song Shake It Off helped Swift's last album debut as a blockbuster. The first week sales surpassed those of Red. Swift went on to sell more than 5 million copies and pick up her second Grammy for Album of the Year. In 2014, Swift also appeared in a supporting role in The Giver, which is based on Lois Lowry's dystopian novel for young readers. Swift and West's feud resumed in 2016 after he released a single that included the lyric, "You shoulda expected me, bitch." Swift claimed that this lyric was misogynistic and that the song was offensive like other controversial lyrics from Kanye. Swift's controversies continued when she took part in a widely publicized civil trial in August 2017, after former radio host David Mueller sued the singer, her mother, and a promoter, claiming that Swift had falsely accused him of sexually groping her in 2013 during the taking of a photograph. She countered with a countersuit stating that the assault had taken place. At the trial, Swift was removed from Mueller's suit and the other two defendants were found not liable as the jury found in favor of Swift's countersuit. Swift subsequently released the hit song Look What You Made Me Do, which was also her first album to top Billboard's Hot 100 chart. In 2018, Swift left Big Machine Records to sign with Republic Records and Universal Music Group. The following year, her former label, which owned copies of her 6 albums, was sold to Scooter Braun, a manager who had previously managed Kanye West. Swift publicly spoke out against the deal, claiming that Borchetta rejected her attempts to buy the master tapes and that Braun bullied her over the years. She subsequently tried to negotiate a new agreement with Braun, but he refused and sold back her catalog to a private investment firm in 2020. In 2019, Swift began re-recording her early material to gain control of the material for fear that a new deal would not be reached with the old songs. Over the next year, Fearless, Taylor's version, came out and it was a remake of her 2008 album with a couple of never-before-released tracks. In 2019, Swift released her 7th album, Lover. That year, she also appeared in the musical Cats, a film adaptation of Andrew Lloyd Webber's successful stage production. Miss Americana is a documentary about her life and career. With little advance notice, Swift released Folklore in 2020, a departure from her previous pop-inspired work. Swift's 8th studio album drew praise for its introspection and restraint and won the Grammy for Album of the Year. The sister record Evermore appeared later in 2020. And just recently, in an acceptance speech at the MTV Video Music Awards, Taylor Swift announced the release date of her new album, Midnights. She also confirmed that she would be performing a song from the album at the end of her performance. This is a collection of music written in the middle of the night and based off the fears, loves, fantasies, and anxieties that we feel during sleep. It's about all of us who have tossed and turned on our beds at night, listened for hours to the floor squeak in fear or made sense of what we think is happening as opposed to standing still and letting it happen. For all those who hear themselves make mistakes and live with them every day, a clock may ring 12 and they will meet themselves again. Many fans thought that the VMAs was Swift's opportunity to announce a new version of her 2017 album Reputation, but instead, she simply gave us more Easter eggs. With the release of her own versions of Fearless and Red in 2019, Swift has taken back control of who owns her music. The singer also repeated one line on the track, Call It What You Want, which caused many listeners online to think that it was an indication their strategy worked. Fans were quick to focus on Swift's choice of sparkly, snake-themed attire as well as her social media post and release date for Midnights, all of which coincided with other women who Swift was suspected to be feuding with. It was believed that the singer might not have been hinting at any specific person or even song for that matter. That's it for this video, Plenty of Pop fan. Remember to subscribe to our channel for all the latest celebrity news and gossip. It's like candy you can't stop eating. We'll cover what celebrities are wearing, who's dating who, and not dating anymore. It's hard to keep up with the recent happenings in their lives. We'll satisfy your gossip fix daily. Comment below if there's a celebrity in particular you want us to cover or a juicy news tip you'd like to share.